All I can say, in the end, we got what we deserved. Hello everybody and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions for another review of another Oxford United game. Today, it's the rearranged derby. It's Oxford versus Swindon. Okay, very quickly, yes, and very solemnly, so you can tell how this game went. Here's the team news. Here's Oxford's team news. They went with the same team that beat Wigan. No real surprises there. Claire's suspended, so that's why he's not in the team or on the bench, so that'll please everybody, but at least he's not an excuse today. And here's Swindon's team. Swindon now managed by John Sheridan. They've been struggling just like we've been struggling, away from home especially. They obviously, same sort of problems as Oxford got, concede silly goals, but the likes of Joel Grant, Matt Smith, Tyler Smith, they got some good players in their ranks. And it's a derby, Thomas. You know it's going to be intense. And I don't want to dwell on this anymore because I've just seen full time. And I'm going to tell you, I normally don't spoil this, it's not gone well. Despair and frustration and anger. And just have to get it out of the way. Well done to Swindon, because this game finished. Oxford United 1, Swindon Town 2.
I don't think we should do this the normal way we do this. I think we should do this in a different way, Ian. So I'm just going to start asking you questions. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't care about the first half. I don't care. What the series of stars, letters, stripes, and bright lights?
Usually we like to sort of tell a story of a game when we do these, but I think the best way to tell the story is to work back to front.
Start at the end. Go to the beginning.
Swindon have ended the streak. It was 7 games in a row for Oxford. Swindon Town, bear in mind, have never won at the Kassam. They've never even scored a goal at the Kassam, and they come and they snatch it late. But snatch it late makes it sound like they robbed us. I really don't think they did. Oxford invited this pressure on them late. They were so sloppy in that second half, and they just got worse and worse and worse. The second half went on. Swindon pinned us in with really quite basic play of just hitting a big man up front and playing it out wide, but it worked for them, and so fair play to them. And they scored 2 goals, really sloppy goals from an Oxford point of view. The second one is an absolute joke. You can please bombard the comments with comments about Eastwood, because he deserves it on this occasion. What a shocking goal to give away for the winner. He's literally just let the ball bounce past him from a loopy header outside the box. There was a tiny bit of pressure from the Swindon attacker, but a shocking goal to give away right at the end of the game, to coincide with a really poor first goal to give away, where we just literally switch off from a throw-in, let a guy get into the box, and then just fail to clear a ball, and then Broadbent's able to just sort of stick a leg on it and divert it into the goal. Oh! Just frustration, real frustration, and a lot of the frustration obviously comes from losing a game, but losing a game that in the first half we were so comfortable in. So comfortable, and how we didn't kill this game off, I never know. The lack of clean sheets, the lack of being able to see out a game really comes back to haunt us on this occasion. Angry and annoyed at the moment, Tom.
I don't want you to shout at me, so I'm going to ask questions and you can just say no to them. Is it time to moderately panic about this team?
Yes and no. I mean, you know, it's the same side that have done all right in previous games. Like, they bounced back well against a strong Pompey side and started well in this game. And I mean,
I'm not cutting you off here, but they bounced back against the Pompey side that 1-1 draws not only are just what they do, but like, this Pompey side aren't banging in goals. It's not like they're putting matches to bed. They basically had a decent second half and came back, but it feels like mistake after mistake after mistake. And I don't want to bombard Simon Eastwood. I don't want to pick out players, but like, I'm getting to a point where I'm like, how are there so many players making so many individual errors match after match after match? It's like every game, and it's not one error. There's like 10 of them, and it just so happens that when a goal finally goes in, it is an individual error. Like, what the hell is going on?
I would say one thing that was different about this game that was different from the other games, and yeah, there was individual errors, but Oxford put themselves under pressure for about half an hour at the end of this game, maybe even 35 minutes at the end of this game, where they just let Swindon continually pump balls into the box, win the second balls, get the ball out wide, and so they just invited this pressure on them. It's not something they normally do, and I don't know. I'm speculating. I don't know whether it's just like the nerves of the derby or the nerves of the game just came back to them a little bit in this one, but it isn't something I've seen from Oxford a lot, where they've literally just almost given up, backs to the wall, defending, trying to see out a game. It's obviously something we're not very good at.
I mean, no offense, but there's no fans in the crowd. It's not even a derby. The games don't matter because 99% of the players aren't from the cities. There's no derby pressure. This isn't like normal where, like, City, United, anyone, you've got 20,000 fans or even 5,000 Oxford fans baying for blood. There's no pressure. No one is there telling you there's pressure. You can say
that. I disagree with it, but for whatever reason, I can only put that down to pressure because these guys that were very composed and played very solid football in the first half completely capitulated in the second half, where it looked like they couldn't play a pass other than just booting it 60 yards down the field. They couldn't get their foot in the ball on midfield. They couldn't win any second balls. So it's complete chalk and cheese. It must be that they fell under whether it wasn't pressure of the derby or whether it was just the pressure that Swindon put on them. At the end of the day, they have buckled and lost 2-1.
How do you see the next match going? What do you see out of this team? Do you?
Well, I mean, Ipswich at home is the next game, and Ipswich themselves are not in great form. I do see it as a completely different game, and I do see it as I see Oxford being, let's say, a wounded animal, but that doesn't mean we'll play well. Like I think Oxford will be better in the game. I think they'll play better consistently through the game. I'm not necessarily convinced we'll win it, but I think they'll be better in the match. But I don't really want to talk about that next game too much. I want to talk about this one. There were good things in the match, and let's not forget that. The first half was very good from Oxford. Swindon did have the first chance of the game, where I think the lad called Jordan Stevens, who actually looked pretty good. I was surprised they took him off. Really shanked a bad mistake, and he got clean through pretty much, and he shanked it so badly wide it didn't even go out for a throw-in. That was how bad he miskicked it. And Oxford did look like a threat all the way through the first half. Swindon's lack of confidence was really there, I thought, for the taking. Kelly and McGuane had the best games in an Oxford, or best first half, best 50 minutes in an Oxford shirt. They were fantastic. Kelly threw ball to Taylor. Taylor clean through, chips it over the keeper. It takes a nick off the keeper, but not enough to stop it from going in. Perfect start for Oxford after 15 minutes. We should have buried this game, though. Taylor missed an absolute sitter in the first half. A really good move. McGuane freed up Long. Great ball in from Long. Taylor's about 7 yards out. Free in front of the goal. You'd think it's a tap-in, but he managed to put it wide. But Oxford were all completely in charge in this first half, and that was the only thing you just felt. At 1-0, you're never safe. We had to get that second goal to kill it off, and we just couldn't, and the players just, as we talked about, fell apart in the second half. But no one's going to focus on those good bits. It's all about the negative bits, and Oxford deserved the criticism on this occasion, Tom. I can't really hide away from that fact.
It's the third worst defense in the league. They conceded 23 goals this season. It's just, it's just frustrating. Like, especially because I spoke to you at halftime, and you were nervous, as anyone would be with a 1-0 halftime lead, but they're playing well.
The subs that came on didn't make any impact in the game at all, which really frustrated me. I really thought they would, but it's more the fact that Swindon were able to get away back into this game by playing really simple football. It wasn't like they all of a sudden like clicked into gear and they pressed Oxford and there were skillful players like cutting in from the side. It seemed really basic football, and obviously came a lot from bringing a big centre back on up front. And Oxford, and that was the thing that's most frustrating. Oxford couldn't deal with it. I thought that Sykes, Shadipo, and Adji, when they came on, were awful. They added nothing into this game. They were so bad, no composure at all from any of those guys. Especially and I'll give Shadipo a pass because he's a young guy, and obviously the whatever it is, it got the better of him. But just constantly giving away stupid fouls, constantly giving away possession. And then when we do have a break, the wrong decision was made time after time, so the move broke down. It was a horrible second half to watch, which ruined a really good first half. And Yeah, I will give Rob Robinson criticism. I think that Robinson should have brought John Messinio on. I think that this game was like 10 minutes to go and it was still 1-0. This game was crying out for Oxford to bring off even Taylor. You could have put Adji up front on his own and you could have put John Messinio sitting in there, either in the back four or in front with Goran. That was a sensible move, I thought. And Robinson's really missed a trick on that one, in my opinion.
I mean, this is the next serious question I ask, and I know that it's going to feel like I'm baiting you just to insult people at this point, but like, does Robinson not take some of the blame for the team sitting back? Does he not take the blame for the fact that the substitutes he put on have basically been useless black holes? And does he not take the blame for this weird Aggie situation where it's like he comes out and insults the guy and then he starts using him at random times? And what do you expect from him?
I'll throw that back to you a little bit, who's coached like people. If you don't mind. Adji situation, yes. We know that. We've talked about it for Dev. We don't think what he did with Dan Adji because he doesn't look like he wants to be on the football pitch at times now. He looks very unsure of himself, which isn't a good sign. If you're a manager and you throw your subs on and you know these guys are decent players, Sykes is a good player, Shadipo's looked a handful at times, and Adji's obviously looked a handful at times. If you broke 3 players on and they play shit, what are you going to do? What can you do?
I think more of my question isn't necessarily this game. It's Oxford United's season, and this is the Carl Robinson thing, right? When you're winning, it looks like scintillating football, but it's like losing with Mourinho as your manager. It's a different thing. Losing with Mourinho as your manager, you're like, this is depressing as hell. But losing with Carl Robinson in charge, you feel like the dressing room's gone. That's one of the first feelings you get out of this Oxford side when they're playing badly. Is like, no one knows who's in charge. No one believes in the game plan. No one wants to be there. And that's what I'm starting to get out of these games, especially when you're 1-0 up at halftime. And as a manager, you've just got to rely on your team to react. But if they're not reacting, and this is the worst part of management, is eventually it's your fault. It doesn't matter if it is or it isn't. Eventually, you're the common denominator that can change. Nothing else can change. We can sit here and go, the players need to do better, but 13 points after 13 games, right? The 3rd worst defense in the league. You're shipping late goals. You're never believing that you're going to keep a clean sheet. And say what you will about Simon Eastwood, he's getting worse under Robinson, not better. And when you see players getting visibly worse, you do start to question what the common denominator is.
The goals they gave away were poor, but a lot of it just comes through the whole team. Just literally, and I'm not going to just sit there and just blame like Atkinson and Moore, because I actually thought they played quite well, as did Ruffles and Long. It's this whole team when they just, like, in that second half, the way they just almost were like a cat on a hot tin roof. They were so scared and so nervous, it looked like. I don't know. Like, it's so difficult to like judge it, because there's times where, you know, we've looked really good under Robinson. There's times where we've looked really poor under Robinson. Honestly, Tom, I haven't got a clue where we go from here. I can see it just being a season where it just meanders along, and we'll hit little pockets of form, we'll hit little pockets of dreadful form, and in the end we'll probably finish lower mid-half table. There'll be some relegation fears in there at times. I'm just going to say, and this will probably be unpopular, well done to Swindon Town. I would say you looked absolutely shot and on your knees in this game in the first half, and to come back and get a 2-1 win is, I can't applaud you because I'm an Oxford fan, but I'm going to say well done to you in that regards. Any Swindon Town fans watching this, please do comment below as well, and feel free to put, what can I say, remarks of mocking and teasing and all that shit, because we deserve it, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Thank you all genuinely for watching. Thank you for those of you that like, comment, subscribe. I'm not going to sellish on this one, but have a look at the links below. Some of them are pretty great. Some are pretty good offers. We'll see you after the Ipswich match. Yes, we might do. I'm not 100% whether I'll have the time to do it on Tuesday night, but if we do, you will certainly see a review. If not, there'll be one next Saturday.